right. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, we'd like to give all praise and glory to
YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH.
Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone that taught us the truth. And salutations to the hopeful elect that's around the four corners of the globe. And the elect begins with the 144,000. YAHAWAH, who the world ignorantly calls God and Jehovah. BAHASHAM is in the name. YAHAWASHI, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. The RAWCHAA, for adopted church, the Holy Spirit. We're the brothers of the Great Millstone Chicago camp. I'm the brother I will join with.
The brother,
the brother outside.
But the Aqua,
Tazapah.
Ahparya.
We come back at you, brothers and sisters, of the household of faith of the Hopeful Right Select with another lesson.
Wow.
When we hope this lesson be edifying through the spirit and power of YAHAWASHI.
Yes, sir.
You know, just really touching upon this man's new world order. You know, talking about Esau's Edom, starting with these elites, their new world order, man. Ultimately proclaiming themselves to be the Most High, man. They're trying to become like the Most High, man. And ultimately, what's their main goal of them trying to push what? The RFID here, man, which is the mark of the beast. You know, when you read Revelation 13, what's that, verse 16 on down, man? They're ultimately trying to take control of the whole world, man. Ultimately trying to control the minds of the people, you know, ultimately things of that nature, man. That's what this devil is ultimately trying to do, man. You know, basically full control. What's that, Aaron Russo, you know, said that when he was ultimately having that interview back a few years ago.
Yep.
You know, he was talking about, you know, the hidden agenda of these elites, man. How ultimately they want to control by ultimately implanting, you know, ultimately the whole world with that micro C head, man, which is the RFID C head, which is the mark of the beast, you know.
All right.
Revelation 13.
All right. I have that Revelations 13, and I'll start with verse 14. And deceiveth them.
Wait, hold on. Start up verse, probably one verse up.
13. All right. This is Revelation 13 and 13. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men.
So like it. Verse 12. Start at verse 12.
Kind. Revelations 13, starting at verse 12. And he exercises all the power of the first beast before him, and causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed.
Right, talking about the Roman Empire, that deadly wound was healed, man. You know, America coming back as the Roman Empire, man. That deadly wound being healed. You know, Esau coming back into power. What's that doing? The Renaissance age.
Yep.
You know, what's that Malachi 1? It talks about, let me just grab it real quick.
That's right.
You said Malachi the first chapter?
Yeah, Malachi, I think
And
it's
what
one.
brother grabbing that, you know, like the bro said, man, this is modern day Rome, man. This is Rome 2.0. And that's why, you know, when you look at the ancient, Roman Empire, you look at Babylon, that's a lot of similarities, man. All right, such as, you know, the Colosseums, man. You got the stadiums, man. All right, you know, the infrastructure. All right, you got with those popular pillars, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right, like the White House, man. All right, you know, you got even the way that Rome fell, man. All right, when you look at the way Rome fell and the way Babylon is falling, all right, at the end of the Roman Empire was a lot of debauchery, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you know, it was a lot of lending. It's like a lot of spreading the army thin. You know, the Romans, they spread their army too thin, man. All right, that's what you know, America does. All right, sending their troops to all these different nations and these different countries, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you know, it's a lot of different things. You know, the eagle, man. Right. You know, you look at the the symbol for Rome, and the symbol for America. Right, it's the same symbol, man.
The Senate.
The Senate, yeah.
The way the government's
the way they govern,
Mm-hmm.
the way they had the government, the politics set up, man. All right, same thing, man. All right, this is Rome 2.0, man. Right, and there's a lot of different things. The Roma Treaty, the Treaty of Rome. All right, you know, I believe that's when they you know, created the EU, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you know, I think it was called the Treaty of Rome, man. Right,
Mm-hmm.
so you know, it's that goes to show you that, hey, this is basically modern day Rome, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna look that up too.
We got that Malachi 1 and 4, right?
This is Malachi chapter 1 verse 4. It reads, whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places.
Right, what is the desolate places, man? Esau coming back into power. Ultimately, Rome fell at a particular time, and Jake ultimately ended up ruling. What's that? The Dark Ages, for that 1,000-year period.
Mm-hmm.
You know, after Rome fell, and Esau was ultimately put under Jake's foot, man. You know, for that 1,000-year period during the Dark Ages, man.
That's right.
You know, or the period that people call the Dark Ages, so-called Dark Ages.
Mm-hmm.
But you got it up.
It says, thus saith YAHAWAH of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. They shall and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom Yahawah BAHASHAM Yahawashi had indignation forever.
They shall build, but I will throw down, man. Hey, ultimately what? Esau coming back into power, what did they ultimately build? The back of the Israelites, man, America, man, which is the second leg of Rome. The brother read in that, what's that Revelation 13. That deadly wound being healed, man. America coming back as Rome, man. But ultimately, we know that Yahawashi is going to make his second return and ultimately destroy this place, man. We're going back to that Revelation 13.
All right. Revelation 13 and 13. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men.
Hey, you had an event, the creation of the atomic bomb. Ultimately, what's that, Hiroshima and Nagasaki? The dropping of what's that, fat boy and little boy, fat man and little boy, if I'm not mistaken, on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, man. Esau has the technology to do these things. Ultimately, what? YAHAWASHI Yahawashi bless this man with the sword to ultimately what? To make fire come down from heaven, man. You got it up.
Revelations 13 and 14. And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live.
And Esau is able to perform these miracles by the way of his technology, man. You have, what does he have today? AI, things of that nature is ultimately deceiving the masses of these people, man. That's what Esau ultimately does, man. He deceives people by the way of his technology and things of that nature, man. And that's going to be a part of his new world order, man. That RFID here, man. We have Elon Musk with the Neuralink, man. Causing people to regain their eyesight. People that had this, miracles that Esau is doing by the way of his technology, man. Transhumanism.
And it's funny, he's got conflict kicking off right in the midst of being exposed for all of the things that he's doing, man. So always thoughts of war and rumors of war to become diversionary tactics so this man can continue his evil and keep his agenda going. So, man, he's being cursed and he's circling the drain and he's using his last lifeline, brother.
Hey, in the fullness of his sufficiency,
I got that right here.
There you go.
Straight.
Hey, this is Job chapter 20.
Sir. Yes, sir.
This is Job chapter 20 and verse. Let me see what I'm gonna start at. I'm gonna start at verse. Actually, I'm gonna start at the top and jump in. All right. This is, of upon earth, the triumph, destroy the joy of the for a moment. His excellency mount to the heavens, and his head reaches to the clouds. They will see him, so say, where is he? Right? Going to Esau, man. I already know this man, has built this, this great empire, all right, which we see crumbling, in today's times, all right, but he built this great empire, man. They used to think America was paved with gold. Right, Esau was, he was at the peak, of his empire, and like, the mid 1900s, man. Right, you have, like I said, all the nations trying to come over here, man. All right, they had you just, under subjection, man. Right, so forth and so on. All right, but it says, yet shall he perish forever like his own dung. They were seeing him, so say, where is he? So, hey, man, he had other nations in fear, man. But here it is now in today's time. We got even these smaller countries bucking up against Esau, man. Trying to, make war with the man. All right. And soon, hey, all these nations are going to shoot their missiles, all right, at this place, America. All right. And this place is going to be gone, man. All right. Completely destroyed, man. All right.
And question, didn't he mention that he was too big to fail?
God, no.
All right. You'll get that one on the way home, bro. Yes, sir.
It says, he shall fly away as a dream and shall not be found. Ooh. He shall be chased away as a vision of the night. Also shall see him no more. Hold him. Right. So not only that, man, right? Not only that, man, but hey, once Esau serves us 1,000 years, are in the kingdom of heaven, and he's going to be completely destroyed, right? So here he is, and he had this peak, right? This 500-year run, all right. He never thought he was going to fall, as it says in Psalms, all right, Psalms 49:11. Scripture tells you that he thinks in his inward thought that his house shall continue forever. Right? You know, so here it is. That he thought that he was the man, and he had everything figured out. You know, he had his whole little agenda set out. You know, it's his 50-year agenda, 30-year agenda, whatever. All right. But here it is. Hey, the Lord done put this man in the trick bag, man. The Scripture says deceive are his, man. All right. And what the Scripture says, thy pride have deceived thee, thou that dwelleth in the clefts of the rocks, man. You know that who habitations is high, it says, who shall bring me down, man? Right? You know, the Lord, hey, that's who's gonna bring you down, man. Because you have, got beside yourself, Esau. You know, it says, I'm gonna read a little bit more. It says his, all right, actually that was to that. I'm gonna jump down to verse 23. Actually, I'm gonna jump down to verse 20. It says, surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly. It says, he shall not save of that which he desired. There shall none of his meat be left. Therefore shall no man look for his blessing and the fullness of his sufficiency. He shall be in strength, and the wicked shall come upon him. Right? And so everybody is going after Esau. Because you want to basically go into the lyrics, man. Everybody's gonna see Esau for who he is. Shall be lifted, man. Right? He ain't gonna be that angel of light no more that he painted himself to be, man. Right? He painted himself to be, the angels, the Most High. All right, this smart, intelligent, person, man. Right? They're gonna see what the devil he's been this whole time. All right, how he's destroyed the earth. All right, the wicked plans that he's, imagined against the whole world, man. All right, what they say, crimes of humanity, man. Right. So forth and so on, man. Right? People are gonna start to wake up to the MO of Esau Edom, right? And everywhere he goes, he's gonna have that, that mark on him, so to speak, man. People are gonna be, on his heels, man. Right? He's not gonna be able to hide himself nowhere on the earth, man. Right? It says, and there shall and in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. When he is about to fill his belly, God shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him and shall rain it upon him while he is eating, right? So as soon as he think he got it, all under control, man. All right, he rolling out the MOTB, right? So forth and so on. The Lord, he's gonna come and put an end to it, man. Right? Because the Lord isn't gonna let this man fully, fulfill his plans, man. All right, because if that was the case, Esau want to depopulate the earth, man. Right. He want only 500,000 people alive, man. All right, and it's 8 billion. Well, they say 9 billion people now, on the earth, man. So that's a lot of destruction that Esau is, he wants to do, man. Right. Then he wants to, even the 500,000 people that's alive. He want to put it MOTB in them so he can control them. He want to, like the bro said earlier, transhumanism, right? Merge man with machine, have AI, on his side, man. All right, have everything brand, through technology. This man, he's just a wicked man, right? And he devises all this wickedness, all right, in order to try and be like the Most High, to see all, to know all, right?
True author of confusion, brother.
I think it was that 500 million. Hey, but knowing Esau, he wanted even more down than that, man. By the way of his different medications and things like that. His injections he's trying to give people, man.
Anti-life.
Yeah, he's exactly. Hey, the cartoon man. It shows you that. What this dude was ultimately. This man, he ultimately ended up destroying the earth, and then at the end of that cartoon, you're seeing the chariot ultimately end up destroying them. But ultimately, we can go back to that Revelation 13, brother. Taza, you got that Second Thessalonians 2?
I most certainly do. That's 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, starting at the top. Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord YAHAWASHI HaMashiach, and by our gathering together unto him, that ye be not soon shaken in mind or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter, as from us, as that day of Hamashiach is at hand.
Right, the day of Mashiach is at hand, man. We see the different prophecies that come to pass, man. Habakkuk 2 says, though it tarry, wait for it, shall surely come. It will not tarry. 2 9 says, the the Lord is going to visit the world which he made, man. You know, measured out the times diligently in itself, man. And we understand that the day of the Lord is near by the way of the prophecies. But you got it, brother.
Con. Starting at the 3rd verse. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition.
Right. And ultimately it says, let no man deceive you by any means. And we know that Esau is deceiving the master of the world by the way of his technology, his philosophies, and things of that nature. And it says, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first. And that falling away already happened. You know, we lost our heritage. You know, 70 AD happened. You know, we was, you know, scattered throughout the 4 corners of the globe. We lost our nationality. You know, at the transatlantic slave trade, we were brought into this side of the world. You know, so that falling away ultimately happened, man. And what? We're seeing the rise, you know, starting with the elect, the nation of Israel, man. You know, you got a big arc.
And another thing is, hey, you got the prophets, man. All right, the prophets is a big part, all right, of the man of sin being revealed, man. All right, you know, that end, you know, the end wouldn't be able to come, you know, until you know the apostles, you know, started to hit the scene, man. All right, and the brothers, you know, who came after them, man. You know, see this work that we doing, you know, these videos we doing, ain't nobody else doing this, man. All right, you got truthers, right, who will probably tell you, you know, certain things that's going on around, you know, the world, such as wars and stuff like that. But ain't nobody linking it up with the scriptures. All right, like the men of the Lord is doing. Ain't nobody telling you, you know, who's Esau, Edom, man. Ain't nobody telling you, all right, you know, what's to come, all right, you know, in the future, all right, after everything, man. All right, after these wars happen, after, you know, people tell you, oh, it's about to be a famine, stock up, all right, but hey, they ain't linking it up with the prophecies, man, right? See, a lot of these people out here, they don't got it, man. All right, but only people who is warning you, all right, about who is Esau, Edom, all right, who is warning you about the things to come, all right, is the prophets, man, the men of the Lord, all right.
Right.
You got some more of that, Tasha Paul?
Yes, I do. 4th verse. Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called Yahweh, or that is worshipped, so that he as Yahweh sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is Yahweh.
All right, that's ultimately what this devil is trying to do by the way of his technology, and ultimately that RFID here, man, tracking everybody, seeing what people do at all times, you know, what type of transactions that you make, man. He's trying to become like the Most High by ultimately tracking everybody that's on this planet Earth, man. You know, basically making himself like Yahweh, man. You know, tracking people, you know, ultimately seeing what people is doing at all times, monitoring your health, things of that nature. He's trying to see what you're doing at all times, man. He's tracking you. He wants to track you at all times, man.
That's right.
Pseudo
angels.
Yeah, kind of, which is pseudo angels.
Because it says the eyes of Yahweh are in all places, beholding everything. Roughly paraphrasing. So
yeah, even with that Neuralink, like the brother mentioned earlier, you want to know your thoughts, man. All right, you want to know when you're nervous, when you're scared, you know, when you happy, man. All right, all that, man. All right, this guy's a mad scientist, man.
Yeah, he is. He's nothing but a fake, con, and a deceiver. And he's done what? Deceived the whole world. By what? Fake imitations of things that he's all about.
And right, and with this whole AI thing, man, because technology is a big part of it too, man. Hey, with this AI thing, you can't even. It's, you know, basically, if you're not in the spirit, man, it's hard to distinguish what's real and what's not real, man. You know, hey, facial recognition. You know, Elder YASHARAHLA went into a lot in this video today, man. You know, with these, you know, real IDs, you know, that people have to get to ultimately travel to enter into certain establishments, man. You know, this is gradualism to ultimately what? To that main goal, which is the RFID hit, man. You know, a real ID to ultimately because what did it say in that video? Ultimately, because it's a lot of people basically using fake IDs and quote unquote people's identification, man. You know, and that's what this devil is trying to do. You got that 1 Corinthians by chance, brother?
I got it. The 2 Corinthians 2.
Yeah, 2 Corinthians.
2 Corinthians 2:11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices.
Yeah, we are not ignorant of his devices, man. Hey, what is the many device of this devil, man? Hey, AI is one of them. You know, trickery, because a lot of these people of the world is deceived by the different, you know, things that Esau Edom is doing, man. You know, not too long ago, you know, you had drones. What's that? Drones flying in the sky, man. A lot of people, was not oblivious to the fact, but ultimately, wondering what the hell was going on, man. And this is one of many tricks of Esau Edom, man. And ultimately, when this RFID CHIP gets instituted on a large scale, man, once it gets mandated, man, ultimately, a lot of these people is going to be deceived into taking that CHIP, man.
That's like how Elder Malcolm will break down how you have used your means and methods to constantly make yourself richer and wealthier, while again you're being proved that. We're asking for the proof of how you came about this, and he says that's critical race theory that you're saying, but it's critical race history when you got the receipts. And then to keep you down so I can stay over you, I need you to have the chip so I know how you spend every penny, nickel, dime, and quarter. So you're telling on yourself. You don't want to explain or be told how you have gotten your riches or wealth by ill-gotten gains, murder, death, kill. But you want me to be traced for everything that, man, this man is and that's wickedness in its finest hour.
And that's the thing. This man is purposely collapsing his own society, man, to ultimately to bring in a new. First going back, you had gold and silver, and then it was transferred to the Federal Reserve note, and also they're trying to do away with the Federal Reserve note. Ultimately, bring in this digital age by the way of the RFID CHIP, man. That's going to be your new form of payment. That's going to be, it's going to have your identification. It's going to have your health records. It's going to have your social, your ID to identify who you is. To ultimately being a member of this new world order society, man. Everybody has to be CHIP to ultimately for you to be participated or a member of society, man.
It's ultimately like the UPC code, man. Like, it basically turns you into a product, man. Like when you go into the store, all right, they got the UPC code on it. All right, you scan it. All right, you can see where it came from. All right, you can see where where it was originally made. Right, you can see. You can see all the information about it, man. All right, what it is, all right, what type of virgin it is, everything about that product you can see, all right, and that's the same thing that Esau wants to do with you people, man. All right, put that MOTB in you, all right, and when you scan that chip, man, all right, it's gonna have all your information on it, man. All right, like a product, man. Right. And like you say, man, if you take that, man, it's over with for you, man.
That's
all
right. That's right. This enemy has an inferior complex where he wants to control you, dominate you, and completely lessen you to nothing. Where he knows everything that you're doing, when you're doing it, what you're eating, what you have. This enemy has to be stopped. And the only one who's going to stop him is Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI.
Brother, I got nothing. You want to continue that Revelation 13 back up?
I got one for you.
Okay.
It's 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 4. It says, "But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that they shall overtake you as a thief. It says, ye are all the children of the light and the children of the day, and we are not of the night nor of the darkness." All right, so like the brothers brought the precept. All right, we are not ignorant of Satan's devices, man. All right. Because we're not in darkness as you other people, as most of these people out here is, man. All right, these people don't have a clue what's going on, man. All right, they gonna fall hook, line, and sinker for every bait Esau throw out there, man. All right, just like they did when it came to the jab, man. All right, hey, go get the jab, you get they even offer some weed. Go get the jab, we got you on a nickel bag,
Right.
Go get the jab. We got you on some fries and a burger, man. For Jake, man. And what they say, we offer to the minorities first because it's hard for them to get. They ain't never cared about you, Jake's, before. But when it comes to getting that jab, they want to make sure you get it first because it's hard. That's how they gonna be with the MOTB, man. All right, and Esau comes out. With all these different tactics and whatnot, all right, to have his real agenda, all right, which is basically to get all you people, and like the bro said, what the interview with Aaron Russo,
Total control, yeah.
These things has been planned out and been prophesied about in the scriptures, man, right?
And it's been everything that you know around, you know, everything is gradualism, man. You know, just by the simple things that we use on a day-to-day basis, right? I know brothers remember the bus cars, like you would just bad bus car, you would insert it in and you would take it.
Yeah, to come out.
Yep.
Come out.
Yep. Now all of a sudden you got venture cars now. So basically they condition, you know, just using an example, they condition the people's minds of ultimately making things easier, you know, just by way of a tap and go, man. So ultimately when they institute, you know, this system, this MOTB system, man, the RFID here, you know, people will already be conditioned to taking it, man, because they already been conditioned, you know, already, you know.
Hey, Pops would say, like, you know, when he was little, they used to have to type in every product at the you know, when you go buy groceries, they have to type it in. And then it came to swipe it, you know. And but you know, like the bro said, that's gradualism, man. You know, he'll let that carry on for 10, 15 years. Right, so people get used to it and then come out with something a little bit more, you know.
Right. That Revelation 13, but
this is Revelation 13 and verse 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
Right, their new world order, man, the image of the beast, man. You know, ultimately, you know, their technology, you know, their ultimate way of life, and ultimately that RFID hit, man. But the image of the beast is the new world order that they're trying to establish, man. And it says, you can read that last part again.
And cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
Right, because it talks about the men of the Lord, some men of the Lord being martyrs, man. You know, because ultimately that's who they coming for, man. The ones that oppose this system, man. You know, this new world order. Who's going to oppose this new world order, man? The hopeful right select, man. The prophets. You know, the true prophets of YAHAWASHI, man. Because it talks about, you know, some being beheaded, you know, things of that nature. Those that are opposing this new world order, man. You know, ultimately they trying to get rid of those that's ultimately opposing this new world order, man. You know, because they're going to deem everybody terrorists, man. You know, if you're not down with this new world order agenda, you know.
But Jake is going to have that choice, you know. And to make it even sound more, what's the word, conniving, we'll offer you reparations. $250,000, $500,000, whatever the number is, I'm not going to give it to you because that's who I am. I'm never keeping a promise that, you know, that I'm going to follow through with. But to have you think, oh, reparations, yeah, I'll take it then.
Right, because scripture says never trust thy enemy. Hey, because, you know,
even
going back to the garden,
move.
you know, going back to the garden with the serpent. What did the serpent? The serpent was speaking smooth words to Eve. Like, yeah, you're going to become like gods, you know, things of that nature. And ultimately, Adam followed suit. But it's the same thing, man. Esau, what? Because the scriptures, it says, you know, though his words were smoother than butter, war was in his heart. You know, that's what Esau Edom does. You know, he puts on, you know, the dangerous ones be the ones in the suit and tie. You know, he speak those peaceable words like, yeah, if you do this, this is what's gonna happen. This is what Esau Edom does. He packages it up real nice, man. Yeah, he does. You know, so ultimately when this new world order ultimately comes to pass, man, he's gonna package it up real nice, man. But ultimately, what we know that Revelation 12 and 12, you can just grab it real quick, brother. Revelation 12 and 12. Because we know that ultimately what he's short on time and he's running out of time. So what he's gonna ultimately show his horns, man. To the devil he's really to the devil he truly is.
All right, Revelation 12 and 12 reads, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time.
Yeah, he knows that he had but a short time. I believe it was Donald Trump that basically had a believe it was Elder Malcolm that had put in the orders room or whatnot. You know, ultimately Donald Trump, you know, basically passed, you know, legislation or a law to ultimately, you know, that basically institutes martial law, man. If you can find it real quick, brother, I believe it's either a video or article about it, but if you can't, it's all good. You know, ultimately, you know, it says, you know, the devil coming down with great wrath, knowing that you have but a short time. You know, Esau Edom, it's not going to be any talks against either you do this, you get put to death, man.
Yeah, no, they just implemented Trump implemented a law, you know, what was that, April 25th, you know, 2025. And basically the law is, you know, he's saying like basically the law is you know, for like police forces, all right, you know, to basically they could be more aggressive, all right, in their tactics, All right, they can come at the certain politicians and different government officials if they aren't doing all right the things all right basically that that Trump passed. Like if this guy Donald J. Trump passed a law and the government officials don't agree with it, they can basically arrest them, man. You know what I'm saying? And there's a couple of different things in that law, but like the bro said, it's basically it's basically on a verge of martial law. It's not martial law, and it's not martial law as indefinitely, but the law is like nearly on the books. So it's basically the same thing. But yeah, the law was passed April 25th, man, which is just gonna add on to what's going on, already in the world, man. And especially here in Babylon, man. Things are getting real spicy, man. All right, and that's why us being watchmen, we gotta stay upon our watch, man. All right, and keep the faith, man. All right. But
yeah, there was a civil rights attorney that did a link about how Trump's latest executive order is a danger to the so-called blacks. Jake is the focal point of it, and it's literally like he's going to unleash the law because so many older Jakes are saying, I can't walk down my block without being harassed and this, that, and the other. So it's like you're asking for what I'm getting ready to do to you, and then there's nobody to blame. Okay, you want the police in your neighborhood? Okay, they're kicking ass and busting heads. Now, what do you have to say? They're cleaning up what it is you said was out of control. So you're out of control, or is it that Esau's out of control? Well, he's going to flip it back on you like he always does to make himself look like, I ain't had no problem. You had a problem, and we're just trying to help you out with your problem.
All right, now Revelation 12:12 says, because he had a short time. Esau Edom is basically he's run out of time because the scripture says, he has bounds that he cannot pass, man. Because that RFID see him as far as he's gonna go, man.
Right.
Yeah, Esau see the angels, man. All right, he see the chariot circling his place, man.
Yep.
All right, he sees the time, man. I believe they had it was a video that brothers had put up. Basically it was these they had opened up a portal, and I guess they seen a writing inside the portal, which was the same writing in the book of Daniel, man.
Yeah.
Many tech yeah, BAHASHAM we grabbed it. It's basically, hey, that was the angels, man. All right, hey, telling Esau, hey, he got a short time, man. All right, because they over there messing with portals and shit like that,
Right.
and they didn't expect to see that, man. Right, that writing on the wall, man, showing them that, hey, man, your time is almost up, man. All right, so we know that, hey, this place is circling the drain, man, as bros say, man. It's almost over with, man. Right?
You got that, Daniel? Yeah, this is Daniel 5:25. And this is the writing that was written. Mene, mene, tekel, upharsin. It says, and then this is the breakdown of it. Verse 26. This is the interpretation of the thing. Mene, the Most High had numbered thy kingdom and finished it. Tekel, thou art weighed in the balance and art found wanting.
Yep.
Peres, thy kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and the Persians.
Hey, that's it, man. And now all that's said is true about Babylon, man. I hear true about America, man. All right. Hey, this place is way in the balance, man. Been found wanting, man. All right. This place, the measure is already filled, man. All right. This place had a certain cap, a certain measurement of wickedness that it was supposed to complete. All right, and it's there, man. Right. So hey, the Lord, hey, he's about to come back. All right. And finish the work, man. All right, which is to destroy this place, man. All right, set up the kingdom of heaven, man.
You had mentioned something about being on your watch, and I want to bring this out in Habakkuk chapter 2, starting with the first verse. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and I will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. You see, it's time. It's time for the men of the Lord to stand upon what? Their watch. Because he has positioned and purposed us to pay attention to what's going on at this present time. So if we're not on our watch, guess what? The enemy is going to seep in and do what? Do his due diligence to do what? To destroy us, to throw us off of our, off of our position. And that's exactly how the enemy constantly comes in. When you're comfortable and sleeping and you're not staying on watch, the enemy seeps in. And the second verse, and the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that read of it. Hey, the vision is plain and simple, that YAHAWASHI has put out there for his prophets to do what? To keep balance and to keep going forward with the word. His word will never fail or return back unto him void.
Read verse 3 also, Bahashaam.
For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry.
Right, it says for the vision is yet for an appointed time, right? Going back to that Revelation 13, John the Revelator had that vision going back to what? The island of Patmos, or during the time of the ancient Rome. And what? That vision is taking place here in 2025 today, man. That vision is going to come to pass, man. So it says what? The vision is set for an appointed time. So each prophecy that you read about, it has its appointed time where it comes to pass, man.
And the scripture says, by measure have you measured the times, that he does not stir nor move them to the said measure be fulfilled. So every prophecy, all right, and everything in history from the past wars, all right, to everything, man. All right, everything was appointed to happen in this time, man. Right? And that's the same thing with MOTB, all right, and with the end all be all, man. World War III, man. All right.
And he's realizing that the world is recognizing him as a failure, and that Babylon is circling the drain. So since it's circling the drain, it goes back to what's already been stated. And this is Revelations 13 and 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads.
Right.
So that's a loser's move, to want to keep track of you by putting something in you, because I'm coming with great wrath now. I'm holding on with my last move, which is what Yahawah said, man, all you got to do is make it mandatory for my people. And here I come.
Yep. And this is one of the major important prophecies in the scriptures, man. And you got other camps, basically getting this prophecy wrong, man. Basically changing up the meaning of the prophecy every time, talking about the IUIC. First they say it's the white woman, then they say it's an embargo, then they say it's sin.
Kind of suspicious.
Kind of suspicious, exactly right. But going into that word karak, man, Revelation 13 and 16, brother. It's G5480. It's Greek karagma, G40 it's like the G5480 karagma, and it says a stamp. It says an imprinted mark. It says of the mark stamp on the forehead or the right hand as a badge of the followers of the anti-Mashiach. It says the mark branded upon horses. It says a thing carved, sculptured, graven work. So it's a thing inserted, man. Because basically you're a servant unto this new world order, man. You're a servant unto Esau Edom, man. Taking this RFID hip, man. It's like branding a cattle, essentially, man. That's what this devil is going to do to you, man. You take this C hip, into your skin, into your forehead, man.
And that's for a man that's not being guided and delivered by Yahawashi. He's being, guided through his demonic means. And his demonic means is going to be his downfall, and we look forward to it.
And let me read the Strong's definition also. It says a scratch or etching. It says a stamp as a badge of it says as a badge of servitude or sculpture figure.
Yes.
It says a graveness in the mark. Going back to I believe it's in either Deuteronomy or Exodus, it talks about that all.
Yeah.
You know, it says you shall become a servant forever, man. That's ultimately what you're telling, you know, the Most High. Hey, I want to be a servant to Esau Edom. You know, I prefer Esau Edom as my God. You know, when you take that that RFID here, I believe it's either Deuteronomy or Exodus. I'm gonna look for it real quick.
He's allowed me to have his 401k and put my money up. He's helping me create a future for myself because I didn't know what I was doing until he told me.
It says Deuteronomy 15, and I'm gonna start at verse 16. Deuteronomy 15 and 16. It says, and it shall be, if he say unto thee, I will not go away from thee, because he loveth thee, and thine house, because he is well with thee. It says, verse 17, then thou shalt take an awl and thrust it through his ear unto the door, and he shall be thy servant forever. And also unto thy maid servant thou shalt do likewise. Right. Well, it's like taking that awl, man. You're basically what? Becoming that servant unto Esau Edom when you take that RFID him, man. You know, you become his servant. He becomes like your Most High, man. You know? And that's also what's going to happen, because it's a judgment written for those who take the MOTB, which is the RFID, which is that Revelation, the 14th chapter. You know, bro's got some closing scriptures too.
I got one. 2nd Ezra 15 and 10. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. So 2/3 is you know, those sheep just following after the wandering after the image of the beast, wandering right off that cliff, man. But YAHAWASHI said, I will not suffer them to dwell in the land of Egypt. So he's going to deliver his elect up out of the land of Egypt, which is America, because that word Egypt means captivity, basically. You know, so this is a modern day Egypt. So it says in verse 11, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. You know, Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that Yahweh shall bring upon it. So, hey man, this place is going to get hit with ultimate plagues, just like Egypt in ancient Egypt, just like modern day Egypt. But what? The elect is going to get saved up out of it, you know?
That's right.
Kind of has something. This is the book of Job 14 and 5. It says, his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. Hey, right, that RFID skip is going to be as far as he goes, man. He's not going to fulfill his NWO agenda, man. And he's going to fail utterly, man. You know, you're going to have people get chipped, but ultimately that's as far as he's going to go, man. His new world order that he's been planning for years upon years upon years is going to fail, man. You know?
And to know that's his last move, man, it's relief to know that Yahawashi has a counteraction ready for him to do his final move. And man, we're delivered. You know, we will be delivered from this. Man, that's what it look like all day, every day.
What the scripture say? These 7 things I have joy. One of them was basically for a man to see the downfall of his enemies.
So 25 and 7.
You know? Because that's really the thing, man. All right, especially when we know that we in captivity, man. All right, we know the wickedness of this, man. All right, we can see through all the facade, all the BS, man. All right, and we've been patiently, all right, and boldly, all right, chanting down this man's downfall, man. So to see it with our own eyes, man, it'd be a beautiful thing, man. All right.
That's right.
Sirach 25 and 7. There be 9 things which I have judged in my heart to be happy, and the 10th I will utter it with my tongue.
That's right.
A man that has joy of his children, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy.
Man.
That's that. That's plain. So, Lord willing, man, and we be able to see it with our own eyes, man. All right, and even if we gotta be one of those martyrs, man, all right, we come back and we gonna have a hand in destroying this man's kingdom, man. All right, speaking of that Ezekiel, man. All right, Ezekiel 25, man. All right, the Lord, he's gonna destroy Esau by the hand of his people Israel, man. All right, we're speaking about the elect. Man. All right, Jeremiah 51. My battle axe, my weapons of war. With thee, without breaking peace, the horse, the rider. So forth and so on. You got
man, from our apostles to our elders, brother, they've already told us, man. They say it with great joy. We have the victory.
That's right.
We have the victory, whether we're going to be here to see it or not. Just to know that you can be taken from this to be brought back first, if that happens.
That's right.
You got the victory every angle now.
That's right.
So, man, all praises to YAHAWASHI for what we have to go through to finally get to where it is he needs us to be with him.
And the scriptures say the light of the just is that perfect light that's shining brighter and brighter into that perfect day.
Yeah.
So our light continues to get brighter now. Our Esau light continues to get dimmer.
Perfect day, man. Yes.
I actually have one more.
Come on,
brothers. I have nothing. Brother had just mentioned the victory, right? This book of Revelations 15, I'm gonna start at verse 1. And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues, for in them is filled up with wrath of Yahweh. And I saw, as it were, a sea of glass mingled with fire, right? The elect men, on those chariots looking down at the destruction of Babylon the Great, mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast and over his image, which is the New World Order, and over his mark, which is the RFID, which is the mark of the beast. It says, and over the number of his names stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of Yahweh. And exactly right. Who's going to have the victory, man? The whole right select, man. Lord, when we be up that number, man.
That's right.
The elect is ultimately going to have that victory at the end. Overcoming this New World Order, overcoming that mark, which is the RFID seal. The elect is going to get the victory through YAHAWASHI, man. Brothers had anything else?
That's it, bro.
You had anything else? You close out?
Yeah,
So with that being said, we hope this lesson was edifying. I want to end up giving all praise and glory to
YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH.
Double honors to the elders and the apostles of great news on the taught us his truth, and salutations to the hopeful elect that's around the 4 corners of the globe. Lord, we hope this lesson was edifying. Till next time, Kwam YASHARAHLA, Shalom, and Abba Ball.
Read.